Hi, I'm Nick Holmes and welcome back to my history channel where we look at key moments in the long history of the fall of the Roman Empire, but only in just a few minutes. Now, in this video, I want to look at the Emperor Constantine, who came after Diocletian, who we covered in the last video. And Constantine is famous for two things. First, converting Rome to Christianity, and second, relocating the capital to Constantinople, or as he called it initially, New Rome. Now, in this video, I want to talk about Christianity, and the big question, the elephant in the room, is did Constantine convert Rome to Christianity, or was he merely jumping on the bandwagon that already existed? Now, I want to tell you a famous story, still told by the Catholic Church today. In the year AD 312, Constantine was marching on the city of Rome to fight his rival Maxentius. He had a vision when he looked up in the sky and saw a cross of light and the words in Greek, en tuto nika, in this conquer. That night, Jesus Christ appeared to him in a dream and told him he would win a great victory if he painted his soldiers' shields with the two letters Chi and Rho in Greek, standing for the first two letters of Christ's name, Christos. This he duly did, and the next day he won a great victory and became the sole emperor of the Roman Empire. Now, a decade or so later, in the year AD 325, he held the first great council of the Christian Church. This was the Council of Nicaea, Nicaea being close to Constantinople in modern Western Turkey. And there he established the foundations of the Christian Church that we still have today. Indeed, the Catholic Church regards it as their foundational statement. For example, it implemented the Nicene Creed, which said that there was one God, the Holy Father, Jesus, the Son of God, and the Holy Spirit, the Trinity. Thereafter, Christianity became the dominant religion in the Roman Empire. Now, I want to ask in this video, how much of that story is true? Well, some is and some isn't. The story of the Council of Nicaea in 325 is absolutely true, and it was the origin of the modern Christian Church. But the story of his vision, most historians think, is a myth invented by Constantine after the event. And there's very clear evidence for this, because if we go to the city of Rome today and to the Arch of Constantine, which stands right beside the Colosseum, and it was built in probably around 315, so shortly after the Battle of the Milvian Bridge, where Constantine had secured his great victory, apparently given to him by Christ. But there's one problem. There are no Christian symbols on the Arch of Constantine, none whatsoever. Indeed, there are pagan symbols. So this does suggest that Constantine at that time was not a devout Christian and that he developed his belief in Christianity later in life. So the key question is, why did Constantine convert to Christianity? What was really going on? And I want to look at the rise of Christianity in the Roman Empire from the time of Jesus' death in around AD 30, when there were only about 1,000 Christians. And the key point is that the growth of Christianity was very slow to begin with. Around 100 years later, in AD 100, there were still only about 10,000 Christians. Fast forward to AD 200, maybe there were 100,000 or so, but that was tiny compared to the pagan cults like those of Serapis and Isis, Mithras, and of course the Roman gods like Jupiter. But if we go into the 3rd century AD, in the period from AD 200 to 300, there's an explosion in the number of Christians. It goes from something like 100,000 to maybe 10% of the population of the Roman Empire, which would have been around about 60 million, so about 6 million Christians. So what we can see is that Constantine was not leading the rise of Christianity. He was jumping on a bandwagon that had firmly established itself during the 3rd century. So the key question is now, why did that happen? Now, historians still debate why this happened, and indeed there's no conclusive answer, but I want to put forward an idea, which is that it was caused by the crisis of the 3rd century. And by that I mean the complete breakdown of the Roman Empire in that century. You've heard in the last couple of videos how the empire was invaded by the Persians and the Germans, how it was nearly destroyed. Millions of people were killed. The classical Roman armies were slaughtered. It was only just saved by the soldier emperors Aurelian and Diocletian. And the effect of this on the vast majority of the people in the empire was dramatic. They lost their faith in the traditional values of the classical empire. They lost their belief in the traditional gods, the cults, Serapis, Isis, Mithras, Jupiter. They were seen to be weak and vulnerable, and instead they turned to a new religion, a religion that was kinder, more compassionate, and that religion was Christianity. So, in conclusion, the rise of Christianity was certainly helped by Constantine, but in my opinion, its true origins lie with the crisis of the 3rd century, when the Roman people rejected the traditional gods, the traditional values of classical Rome. And I call this the Roman Revolution, which is the title of my first book in my series on the fall of the Roman Empire. And of course, this new early Christian church would prove to be far from perfect, as we'll discover in future videos. But in origin, it was driven by a genuine wish for a better life. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.